It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? You tried to sneak peek on her brother. You tried to sneak in and get a little early look. What's happening, everybody? At this time, it is showtime. And NBA Finals time tonight. Yes, game one of the NBA Finals. The Golden State Warriors, Boston Celtics, out in San Francisco. Golden State, the Warriors. And it's hard for me to say. I'm a Lakers fan, but you know I can't root for the Celtics. The Celtics scare me, but I can't be a true Lakers fan and root for the Celtics. That'd be like rooting for Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and Orange Hitler. Can't do that. Can't do that, won't do it anyway. The Warriors in 7. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast, out in San Francisco, where game one is going to kick off probably about 9 o'clock East Coast time. So I'm just going to get right into the monologue. Oh, by the way, later in the show, I got a guest. So listen, I'm going to make a hard pivot, and hopefully it'll put a smile on your face. If if your dad's drip isn't up to par, you want to get your daddy's drip game up for Daddy's Day. I got the ultimate wardrobe consultant to the stars, Brother George Miller, here in the Low Country, the Charleston, South Carolina metro. But before that, let's get into this monologue. So today I have a message to the young people of America. So please listen to Uncle Geno. I'm really talking to you all, because I'm gonna need you all to talk to your mom and your dads and your grandparents and your aunts and your uncles. And I want you to ask them a simple question, because they tell you how much they love you and how they would do anything for you, and they would do anything to protect you, and they would stand in front of a bullet, and they would fight a brick wall in the army and Jesus about their babies, about their grandbabies and their babies and their nieces and nephews. And I know a lot of them, God knows, I mean it. But, talk is cheap. You can say a lot. Don't tell me. Show me. So I want my young people, the young people of America, just to ask mom and dad, or, your grandmother, what do you call it, grandma, grandpa, papa, whatever you call them. Say, what do you love more, really? Do you love me more than your guns? Or do you love your gun more than you love me? Now, they might look at you sideways, and they may say, oh, you being disrespectful, and ain't none of your business. Well, you're not being disrespectful, because you can tell them Uncle Geno told you to ask. And if they want to know who the hell is Uncle Geno, then tell them to watch the show. And they can leave me a message. They can leave me a comment right here. They can come on the show. We can have this conversation. But if they love you, if we collectively, as a country, if we really, really, really love our kids as much as we say we do, and that we would really die for our kids collectively, then we would make sure that we vote for people and put people in positions of power that can pass laws to keep, especially, at least, the least we should be able to do is to keep our kids safe in our classroom. Now, we should be able to keep our grandmothers safe when they go grocery shopping, or if our grandmothers and mothers and our dads are at Bible study on a Wednesday night in a church in downtown Charleston, South Carolina, or grocery shopping in Buffalo, or at the doctor's office. My mother's always at the doctor's office. If your mom or dad is a doctor, or somebody in your family is a doctor or a patient, they should be safe in the doctor's office, or at a country music concert, in so many places, or just maybe having a block party on Memorial Day in downtown Charleston. But especially in a classroom, especially a 7, or 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, the least that we should do collectively as a country is to keep our kids safe. Who and what are we as an adults? If we don't give a damn about ourselves as adults, the one job that we have as parents is to protect our kids. I mean, really protect our kids. Even if it means we gotta do something a little different. Something that maybe we don't like, or we feel that we've got this divine right. Yeah, let's talk about this, all right? Now listen, and we're not gonna have a debate about the Second Amendment. I understand the Second Amendment, which is really tricky. First of all, there's this whole thing, it says that the Second Amendment says that Americans have a right to this country has a right to a regulated militia. So, all right, actually, the language is a well-regulated, not just a regulated, but a well-regulated militia. So look up the definition of well-regulated. What does that mean? Anything that is well-regulated, it's monitored, they have certain guidelines and rules and restrictions, things you can and can't do, and there's a time frame, there's certain protocol, procedures, rules. Yes, anything that's well-regulated means that there's order, all right? There is a certain order. For all my Christians out there that talks about divine order, yes, order is important, whether you believe in God or not. If you are in the military, there's a certain level of order that must be maintained for the military to be successful and for the morale to be correct. On your job, if you're working in corporate America, if you have a business or a company, you have a restaurant or a construction company, it's got to be order when you're building a house. It just can't be chaos and folks are just willy-nilly doing whatever. There's certain order to build a house. There's certain things that got to be done first. Certain things got to be done second. Certain things that's got to be done last. Then they have inspections. People have to inspect. There's certain laws that can, those in the construction builders have. There's certain codes. You build a home, a resident or commercial business. There's certain states that have certain laws and codes when it comes to how your business has to be wired, the construction, all of that. So to own a gun, it's got to be well regulated. So let me just say this. Because when we talk about owning guns, remember, initially when this country was not even founded, when it was invaded and stolen from the Native Americans, and then when Africans were brought here in August of 1619 to provide free slave labor, enslaved people. So just a few handful of old, white, wealthy landowners could build wealth for themselves and their families. So black people couldn't think about it. When black people were emancipated, when 1865, after the Civil War, and legally black people were free. But you were free, but no, you can't have guns. Because these same white men who enslaved black people were afraid that black people, oh my God, if they got guns, not to mention the Native Americans that we engaged in genocide. No, if they get guns, they'll turn the guns on us, and they'll be, because they had insurrections. Just Google Nat Turner, but he didn't even use guns. He had things like axes. So they was like, my God, you see how Nat Turner he was about that life, and he just was killing white folks, and white folks were just petrified. It's like, oh my God. So what would happen if we allowed black people and Native Americans to get the same weapons we had? So the whole premise of gun ownership was so a small handful of people could basically, by force, steal land, oppress people, make sure that they stayed in their place. We want to continue this whole system of slavery, because we're making like millions of dollars. And my God, these slaves, they may rise up. So we need to have some weapons, and we need to have more powerful weapons than they have. So you got to understand that all part of this whole Second Amendment, who wrote the Second Amendment and who didn't write, who was not in the room when the Second Amendment of the Constitution was written in the first place. So we have to really, you got to understand the whole history of gun ownership. Now I know, look, okay, I understand people hunt and it's a tradition in your family, especially if you grow up in the South, not just in the South. I got families grew up in Chicago that they like to hunt and fish. I get it. No, I grew up on the South side of Chicago. I didn't hunt anything. My grandfather was a tailor. He didn't hunt, but we had members of our family that did hunt. Yes, there was a gun in our house, and that my grandparents were pretty responsible with the gun and made sure the gun was put away. I may have shared a story though, that gun, fortunately, my mother happened to move a gun that I knew where it was. And I was prepared to really do something bad because I was sick and tired of being bullied by somebody that was almost a foot taller than me and probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years older than me at the time. That's a different story. Go back and binge watch one of the episodes. I'll tell that story at a later time. So yes, I know what guns are like. I've seen guns. I've had them growing up in my house. I had family members that hunt. I have family members in the military. My first cousin, retired Master Sergeant in the Marines. Started off just when Vietnam I think when Vietnam had just come to the end, but he served all over the world. Another cousin in the military. So the whole history of America and gun ownership, and I understand people like to shoot for sport. I've got all of that in my family. I got my best friends, it's a hobby. It's a form for people to go to the range and release stress, not just men, women. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. You know what group of Americans, what demographic, we want to break it down by race and gender, which demographic, what group of Americans are the largest purchasers of guns today? You might be surprised. You probably say, oh, white men. No, they already got enough guns. Trust me. When Barack Obama won, they panicked. The older Negro's he's going to take our guns from us. Oh my God, we got to go out and we got to buy up all the guns because he's going to go ahead and come and try to get our guns. And then the black folks with guns, which I don't know, if he was going to take your gun, you didn't think he wasn't going to take black people's guns? Which he never said that, said he wouldn't do it, never had a plan to do it, but it was just that fear of the dark skin. So that was the whole racist justification. We got to go out and buy guns. But now, do you know who the #1 purchaser of guns in America is? Black people. No, not black men. Black women are the largest purchasers, new purchasers of guns in America. Now, for years, black people couldn't own guns, like I explained. And now with the rise of white domestic terrorism, just look at Charlottesville, look at what happened in Buffalo, where you had an 18-year-old kid. Right here in Charleston, going on, 7 years ago, I believe 2015, about 12 miles from where I'm standing right now, 9 black people, a reverend who was a state senator, Reverend Clementa Pinckney, rest in peace, power in paradise, were murdered by a 21-year-old white kid who wanted to start a race war. Not my words, not my opinion, his words. He admitted it. I'm not going to even dignify him by mentioning his name. Murdered 9 people. After sitting with them in Bible study on a Wednesday night for an hour, reading scripture, and they prayed with him. He stood there and prayed with them and then prayed on them. Or the 10 people in Buffalo that were murdered by the 18-year-old kid who wanted to start a race war. He wanted to kill as many black people as he could. Not my opinion, his words. So I can understand why black women are the largest group of people purchasing weapons, because the most unprotected, undervalued, disrespected, devalued person on the planet is a black woman. Always underprotected, undervalued, underestimated, all of that. Whatever end you can come up with, the most whatever in a negative way is a black woman and a black girl. So let's talk about, so we had, not even in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, like in 10, 11 days, 10 people murdered at a supermarket in Buffalo. 10 black people murdered. They want to start a race war. White, 18-year-old white kid. And he lived to tell about it. Stood right there. And the cops, after murdering 10 people, they didn't shoot and kill him. Then we had what happened in Uvalde, Texas. That was a Hispanic kid. They killed 19 Hispanic babies and 2 Hispanic teachers in a little small town that's like 80+% Hispanic, Mexican Americans. And we had what happened yesterday. Not to mention, we had a mass shooting here in Charleston, South Carolina, right here near downtown, the east side of Charleston. Monday, I think 10 people were shot, wounded. I don't know what the body in terms of dead, I don't remember. I hope no one. But we had a mass shooting here. And remember, we had the Mother Emanuel 9 back in June of 2015 at the Mother Emanuel Church. So unfortunately, we are very familiar with mass shootings here in Charleston, South Carolina, but everywhere. And in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the site of the worst race massacre, 1921, 101 years ago, Memorial Day weekend, just well over 300, because the number they can't even count. They're probably black people that they never found their bodies. Well over 300, maybe in the thousands that were murdered. Whole section, Greenwood section of Tulsa, Oklahoma, prosperous, successful, self-sufficient black community, banks, all kind of businesses, banks and clinics, doctors, hotels, movie theaters, you name it. Angry white domestic terrorist men went and destroyed. The government got in on it. They flew planes and dropped bombs on that neighborhood, completely burned it down. And the black people, they rebuilt it. So children, my young people, let me go back to the young people of America. You know what? Uncle Geno, I just want to offer this suggestion. Now, it's going to piss your parents off. They're going to look at you like crazy. But this is something collectively to the young people of America. I think the only way that you are going to be able to get your parents' attention and to get them to take this serious is that you're going to have to do something very drastic and very serious. Because you are not safe in school. You're not. And it doesn't matter what you look like. These were Hispanic kids, but you had in a town about a little over 10 years ago, a very affluent town in Connecticut, Newtown, Connecticut, school called Sandy Hook Elementary School. These were kids that were like second graders, 7 years old, 20+ murdered in school, in class. So these were white kids. They were children of pretty affluent or successful financially white people. And other white people in power didn't do a damn thing about it. So we as black folks knew, it was like, man, y'all don't give a damn about these, well-off-to-do white kids and their moms and dads, then we know you don't give a damn about black kids or Hispanic kids or Native American kids. These politicians in power. Because the politicians care about power and the money they receive from the gun makers. And that's who we need to hold accountable. So, to the youth of America, this fall, first day, I would stay home. You should have like a mass, or if you go, just have a mass walkout. Or just say, I'm not going. We are not. Listen, you had to stay home because of COVID, the pandemic. Said no, and you would be justified. You have to have shooters drills. I can't imagine it. Shooters drills. They got those songs, what to do, to stay calm and to be quiet and put your phone on silent or mute. First and second graders are having to do this and learn math. But then you worried about them. You worried about somebody teaching CRT because we don't want you to teach anything that's going to make our little white kids hate themselves. No, they're not going to hate themselves. They may look at you or their grandparents or great-grandparents sideways. You don't want the truth to be taught. Because CRT equals the truth of American history. And people in power don't want the truth to be told. Because those people in power fear that, oh my God, if our kids learn the truth, then maybe going forward, we won't have as much power. Because they will want to share the power and they will want to get rid of this racism. So young people, to the young people of America, collectively, a nationwide school shutdown. A nationwide school stay at home until your parents put pressure on the politicians that represent them where they live to pass laws, basic laws. And here's just a few. I got a list. Now I'm gonna bring on my guest. The basic thing they should do, it should be a federal law that requires any gun that's purchased, whoever's buying a gun, it's got to be an extensive background check, period, full stop. How hard is that? All my gun owners, many of them agree. You want to own a gun, it should be a background. Why would all these legal gun owners, and I know law enforcement and police officers, why would you not want anyone that wants to purchase a gun have a background check? That's beyond common sense. We would be against it, but we know who's against it. People who want to continue to peddle fear so they can keep power and generate billions of dollars out of the fear. Oh God, white folks, you better fear the black folks. Oh, black folks, you better fear the white folks. Y'all come on, get some guns. We got plenty of all the guns and ammunition we need. People are profiting off fear and division and hate. It's a con. It's a hell of a con. But who's suffering? Kids in the classroom, kids in neighborhoods, and they miss me with, oh, Chicago. Listen, do some homework. Here, I'm going to help you out there. Top 10 cities, the most violent cities, most crime. FBI stats, not my opinion. Chicago's not even in the top 10. New York's not in the top 10. You know what city's number one? Anchorage, Alaska. Hello, way up there where it's cold and it ain't nothing to do. Anchorage, Alaska, ranked number one, FBI statistic, the most violent city in America. Who would think? Anchorage, Alaska, where it ain't too many black folks. I'd give you $1 for every black person you could find, and I got that in my bank account right now. And I ain't got that kind of money. Right now, I can go just for every $1, I go to my bank account, I'll cash app you. Because it's like no black people in Anchorage, Alaska, except for whoever may be stationed up there in the military, and they don't have an NBA team. They may have like they don't even have a G League, NBA G League team. I digress. So, federal law, any gun is purchased. I don't care where you get it at. I don't care if you get it, or even if somebody gives it to you, if your daddy, your uncle, your auntie gives you the gun, guess it's got to be a background. She better make sure you go somewhere where you can get a background. She needs to go with you. Just like if you have a car that you want to give, let's say you own the car, you have the title on the car. You want to give it when Allie received a car that I owned, and I wanted to transfer the title. There's a legal process to transfer the title in her name. So, federal law, mandatory background check for the purchase of any gun. Number two, something they call a red flag law. What is a red flag law? So if you threaten somebody in person, on a phone call, in a text message, online, by third person, or if you threaten to kill yourself, if you are online posting and doing videos on Facebook and Snapchat and YouTube and all these other like racist social media sites, talking about you want to start a race war and you want to kill black folks and Jews and Mexicans and Muslims and gays and you don't like women. Okay, and somebody sees that and reports that to the police, or they show them the video, or they play the audio for them. A red flag law would allow police, law enforcement to come in to take whatever gun or guns that you have. Now, there's something called due process. Yes, now you can go in front of a judge and go into court and say, like, I really didn't mean that, but you have to be evaluated. There has to be a mental, psychological evaluation to prove that you weren't really serious. And if you can't prove that, or if you were deemed to be unfit, you know, in the military, they give you mental examinations to make sure that you are fit to own or to use, to carry, to be responsible, because you don't own it. In the military, the government owns the weapon, but whatever weapon or weapons that you are issued or responsible for, you are held responsible. Which leads me to my third thing. So, federal law, mandatory background check, all weapons, all guns, period, full stop. Red flag law, to where if you are making a threat, whatever way you make that threat, if it's report it, or if it's seen, somebody can report it, your gun, your weapon or weapons can be taken away temporarily, at least, until and only if you can prove that you are not a threat. And if you can't prove that you're not a threat, or if it determines that you are unfit mentally, or that you have hate and animus, and that you want to kill a group of people because of their race or their gender or their sexual orientation, then you are unfit. You are not fit and responsible enough to own a weapon. That's two. Three. Now this is really gonna make some people's head explode. If you own a gun, it has to be insured. I hear you screaming. I know. I can hear you. Oh, no, I'm not a liberal. I'm a human. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm an African American, and I'm a human with common sense. But if you want to own a weapon that dangerous, it needs to be insured. You own a car could be used as a weapon. As a matter of fact, a car was used by a racist white nationalist in Charlottesville, Virginia. Remember that? Yes, remember Charlottesville? And it was a young Jewish woman, I believe Hunter Heyer, that was murdered because this white nationalist, this domestic terrorist, used his car as a deadly weapon, and he killed her. You can't drive a car off the lot without insurance. You can't drive it off any lot anywhere without insurance. You will not get near the key until you have proof of insurance before that dealer will allow you to drive that vehicle off the lot. So if we require that you got to have a license to drive a car, you shouldn't have a license to own for an 18-year-old to buy an AR-15. You can't even rent a car in America if you're under 25. But you can go in many states without a background check, without a license, without training, without any kind of registration. You can just go buy the gun. You can go buy AR-15 to any of these gun stores. As a matter of fact, you can buy two, like the domestic terrorists did in Buffalo. You can buy two AR-15s like within a week or 2 week period, and like 1,000 rounds of ammunition or something crazy like that, which leads me to, all right, one more thing. AR-15s, they were made to kill as many people as quickly and efficiently as possible. I would ban all AR-15s. Now I know there's a lot of folks that's got a lot of them. All right, so you got them, but since you got them, and all the rest of your guns, some of y'all got hundreds, thousands of guns. You got to have an insurance policy on all the guns, or maybe we'll have a group rate based on the amount of guns, and we'll prorate it. So if you got like 500 guns, okay, you don't have to have 500 different policies, but we will prorate your insurance policy and the rate you have to pay based on the amount of guns. It's just real simple. Because if I can't appeal to your sense of humanity, compassion, empathy, decency, and morality, I can get your attention. You can be held liable, even if you don't wind up being charged with a crime. But you should. But like all the families, these families in Buffalo, that kid, he didn't have money. Now, I don't know if his parents have money or not, but you know what? Go digging in them pockets. Because parents, you should have been responsible. How's this kid that was working at a fast food joint, where'd he come up with almost $4,000 to buy two AR-15s and all this ammunition? And you'd have no idea? You had no idea that he had these guns anywhere in or near the house? Come on, y'all. I'm just saying, something new, this just, man, I can't even imagine. But okay, fine. You're gonna let him do that, then you better make sure that there's insurance on all those weapons. And if something happens, if there's a crime committed with that gun, it's confiscated. And just like a car, you get into too many car accidents, then they cancel your policy. You can't get insurance. If you can't get insurance, you can't drive a car, because you can't own a car without insurance unless you want to go to jail. So it should be the same with guns. Children, young people of America, if your parents can't keep you safe, you got to keep yourself safe. You might have to collectively, America's children, stay home from school until your parents put pressure on politicians to put an end to this madness. Mandatory, universal, federal background checks. 18-year-old kids should not be able to purchase. If you gotta have them, at least you guys should at least be 21. You can't even buy a beer at 18, but you can buy an assault weapon. I digress. Let me make a hard pivot because my man has been very patient. Ladies and gentlemen, Father's Day is coming up in just, a couple weeks. And now listen, your father's fashion game is daddy's drip not up to par. Now for those who don't, Geno, his drip. What do you mean, is he dripping? No. I'm not saying your daddy needs the pins. That's not what I mean when I say is your daddy's drip game not tight. That's what the kids call, fashion, their gear, their fit. So is your daddy's drip game not up to par? Well, this gentleman I'm gonna bring up is gonna put a smile on your face because, boy, your daddy's drip game for Daddy's Day, it will be, ladies and gentlemen, he is wardrobe consultant to the stars. Let me bring on camera my man, George Miller. G, what's happening, baby? Hey, man, listen.
Everything's good, man.
I appreciate you. I apologize, man. I got into the monologue. You've been very patient. I said what I had to say. So
you was touching on some important topics, and I understand that that's a big problem right now in the U.S. and we need to kind of figure out a way to address it.
Right.
So I mean, you touched the topics that was needed to be talked about.
Hey man, I want to keep the kids safe, but I want to keep the mamas and I want to keep the daddies safe so the daddies can get their drip game, they get their drip down for Daddy's Day right, and they can come and visit you, wardrobe consultant to the stars. So if you don't mind, man, I know I don't have too much time with you, but just give everybody a little background. I got a chance to meet this brother personally. He is a wardrobe consultant, but he'll tell you a story. He has his own business, and then he also does business with one of the top haberdasheries or top clothiers in America. So I'm gonna let you take it away, G.
My name is George Miller. I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina. I work for a company called M. Dumas and Sons in Charleston, right here on King Street. That's 294 King Street on the corner of King and Society. I've been in this business for 15 years. Charleston is different than most cities. I think, my upbringing in this town, seeing the guys that I went to high school with, and seeing some of the older gentlemen that actually would wear that type of, like what you're saying, drip, wearing that particular type, nostalgic looking clothing, inspired me to be where I'm at, where I am today. And, I'm in a truly blessed situation.
So give us some fashion tips and then some gift ideas for, folks, because Father's Day is coming up. And I think, let's see, taking me, I think we just lost did I lose this live shot? I think I just lost George's live shot. I did. I just lost his live shot. All right, I'm back on camera. I got to bring George back on. We'll bring George back on next week. If he's got a day available. But anyway, check him out. You can check him out. Just do a search on Instagram, on Facebook. I think he's on Twitter. I know he's on Instagram for sure. I know he's on Facebook. Definitely on Instagram. Just search George Miller M. Dumas. It is a clothing store here in Charleston, South Carolina. So you can just Google that and get the information. You can reach out to him there, but we're gonna bring him back. We lost my live shot there. I guess the monologue was so hot. The enemy's like, oh my God, G, you killing the game. So listen, G, thank you. I want to thank you for coming on. We apologize for the technology stuff happens. So like I said, once again, we lost the live shot. We'll get him back next week. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. God, most of all, thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show. I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Don't forget, game one of the NBA Finals is tonight. All right, please subscribe to the Geno Jones Show. You and everybody you know, please subscribe. Tell them to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show on YouTube. Share, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. Shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and his stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram, Kel Be Cutting Up. Allie Jones, she is the official wardrobe consultant for the Geno Jones Show, along with Bruce Gage. Allie Jones on Instagram. She is Lexi with 2 X's, LEXXIE .Nicole _designs. Lexi with 2 X's .Nicole _ is that little dash at the bottom, designs. And Bruce Gage is on Instagram. Check him out. It's Miglio D Mario. One more, MIGILIODIMARIOUOMO. MIGILIODIMARIOUOMO. All right, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. So, as a matter of fact, you know what? We're going to see if we can run it back with George tomorrow. As a matter of fact, George and Keela Carson is expected to make her return. School is over now. She is a professor at a college up in suburban Detroit, Michigan. She's number one on your program and number one in your hearts. Yes, my number one guest co-host, Miss Keela Carson, is expected to return. Hopefully we can run it back with my man G. So shout out to everybody that's watching me live in my chat room. Hello, mother, how are you? Next live edition of the Geno Jones Show is going to be tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. President Biden has a major address about gun safety and all these mass shootings tonight at 7:30. And in closing, please, let's pray for peace. Let's pray for all the families and all the souls and spirit, all the families that lost someone, and all the spirits and souls that we've lost to all the gun violence, not just here in America, but all over the world. All right. Thanks for watching. See you live tomorrow, Friday, 6:30 p.m. right here. All right. So go tell somebody else to subscribe to the show. Go back and binge watch all my episodes.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.